Support for the roundup comes from Symphony 3, allowing councils to connect their systems securely, to automate their data flows and to monitor performance in real time. And right now, councils are lining up for their own emergency dashboard, like the one that Symphony 3 has created for the city of Greater Bendigo. The dashboard helps keep the community safe and prepared before, during and after emergencies. It pulls together live data, including weather data, traffic data, emergency incidents, unplanned and planned disruptions, news and social media feeds. Visit www.symphony3.com to learn how you can get an emergency dashboard for your community. Coming up, a dramatic adjournment after a split mayoral vote on the Mornington Peninsula, Ararat CEO departing after 8 years, New South Wales councils get the green light for massive rate hikes, snowy Monaro Councillor Andrew Thaler faces a tense hearing over bullying allegations, mayoral races heat up in Tasmania, New Zealand moves to strip unelected representatives of committee voting power, and LA's incumbent mayor faces a fierce three-way battle as voters head to the polls. Hello, it's Local Government News Roundup time. I'm Chris Eddy and I have lots to tell you about on today's bumper midweek edition. Our podcast brought to you by the Victorian Local Governance Association, the national broadcaster on all things local government, with support from Symphony 3, simple, connected customer experiences, and from Rath Engineering Development, smarter local government systems built from real on-the-ground experience. So pleased to have you here wherever you're listening across Australia or around the world. It's Wednesday the 3rd of June. Heading this edition, a meeting to elect a new mayor of Mornington Peninsula Shire was adjourned last night after no candidate for the position achieved an absolute majority. Current acting mayor Paul Pinjaro and councillor Stephen Batty were both nominated for the role, with each attracting 5 votes from the 10 councillors present. A 20-minute adjournment to seek a solution was unsuccessful, with a second vote returning the same result. Another attempt will be made on the 16th of June, with councillor Pinjaro to continue as acting mayor until then. Of course, this has all been brought about by the resignation of Anthony Marsh, the former mayor who was recently elected to State Parliament. Ararat Rural City Council CEO Dr Tim Harrison has resigned after more than 8 years leading the organisation. Dr Harrison will finish up on the 30th of November. Mayor Bob Sanders praised his legacy, highlighting record capital works investment and a strong financial turnaround. The council says operations will continue without disruption while a replacement is recruited. There's a new councillor in Glenelg Shire Council after the election of Mary Pickard, following a countback of votes from the October 2024 general election. The result was declared on Monday afternoon, and the new councillor was officially sworn in yesterday afternoon. Mayor Karen Stevens welcomed councillor Pickard, saying her strong ties to the community, experience and passion would be a valuable addition to the council. The vacancy occurred after the resignation of councillor Mike Noski in dramatic fashion during budget deliberations at a council meeting in April. Northern Grampians Shire Council says Victoria's newly declared Western Renewable Energy Zone is smaller than first proposed, but it's still not what the council wants. The zone combines 2 earlier REZ proposals and is split into eastern and western sections, with the eastern section entirely in the Shire. The council says some culturally significant and high biodiversity areas have been removed, but prime agricultural land remains included. Vic Grid engagement sessions are set for June 15 and 16 in Stawell. The City of Casey is facing pressure to urgently restructure its advocacy strategy following a sharp rise in family violence. A formal submission to Council by support service Wellsprings for Women highlights a 10% year-on-year increase in local incidents, making it the highest recorded in Victoria. The Dandenong Star-Journal reported that advocates are urging the council to bypass standard action plans and partner with the state government to implement a localised prevention model. Mansfield Shire Council has joined Australia's first snow resort summit in Thredbo, with new figures showing regional communities can capture up to half the economic benefit generated by snow resorts. The national snow industry is worth an estimated $5.7 billion in output and supports around 22,000 regional jobs. Council CEO Kirsten Alexander says more investment in snowmaking could extend Australia's 121-day season, boosting local jobs and revenue. Strathbogie Shire has partnered with recovery provider Windermere to conduct winter welfare checks for fire-affected residents. Under a newly signed information sharing agreement, team members will reach out via telephone over the coming weeks to connect isolated or vulnerable community members with free confidential support services. And Mornington Peninsula Shire has announced a new 3-year partnership with Wildlife Victoria to tackle a surge in road trauma. Local wildlife vehicle collisions have risen by about 135% over the past 4 years, placing the municipality 16th highest for such incidents across the state. Also making news, a postal by-election has been set for Mornington Peninsula Shire Council's Briars ward following the resignation of former Mayor Anthony Marsh. The close of roll is 4 p.m. Wednesday, 22nd of July, and election day is officially Saturday, the 3rd of October. Moonee Valley City Council is calling on residents to have their say on a new draft fraud and corruption control policy. It aims to strengthen transparency and protect public funds across all council operations. Feedback is open until Tuesday, the 23rd of June. And Maribyrnong City Council Mayor Mohammed Semra has been profiled by the ABC's Australian Story, documenting his journey from Sudanese refugee overcoming a debilitating stutter to becoming a city mayor at the age of 27. You're listening to the Wednesday, 3rd of June edition of The Roundup, brought to you by the VLGA, which is partnering with the Australian Institute of Company Directors to deliver the first in a series of webinars focused on the local government sector. Your Role, Your Impact, Essentials for Local Government Councillors will be held next Wednesday, the 10th of June from 12 p.m. to 1 p.m. I'll be hosting this free webinar, joined by VLGA President and Monash Councillor Dr Josh Fergus, Deputy Victorian Ombudsman and former Council CEO Karen Ellis, and Isaac Regional Council Mayor Councillor Kelly Vivi. The session is designed for councillors just starting out in their career or community members who are considering putting their hand up to be a councillor in the future. You can register now at the AICD website. In New South Wales, the state's independent pricing umpire, IPART, has handed down its highly anticipated decisions on special rate applications for New South Wales councils. 9 local councils have been given the green light to increase their general income above the standard state rate peg. The approved councils include Blacktown, Central Coast, Hawkesbury, Ku-ring-gai, North Sydney, Ballina, Glen Innes, Severn, Muswellbrook and Uralla. In percentage terms, the biggest approved increases are 58% over 2 years at Uralla, 52.66% at North Sydney and 48.3% over 3 years at Glen Innes, Severn. However, it wasn't a total clean sweep. IPART knocked back the application from Cessnock City Council, rejecting its request for an above-peg increase of 39.9% over 1 year. IPART Chair Carmel Donnelly said the decisions followed a thorough review of community feedback and strict criteria. She noted that elected councillors now hold the ultimate power on how and when to roll out the changes, with the flexibility to phase them in or even defer them for up to 10 years. For the full list of council decisions, you can head to the IPART website. Link in the show notes. In Albury, the council is facing a deep political divide over a proposed special rate variation to fix a $20 million debt black hole. The Border Mail reported an interim report warns that avoiding the 42% rate hike would force $18 million in cuts to essential community services. While some councillors are backing an aggressive payback strategy, Deputy Mayor Jess Callaghan is strongly opposing the move, calling it a bailout for generational choices. A final decision on whether to take the proposal to public consultation will be made on June 15. Gwydir Shire Council has announced the appointment of Leah Daly as its new permanent General Manager, following an extensive recruitment process in partnership with LG New South Wales Recruitment. The final interviews were concluded in Bingra. Mayor Tiffany Galvin welcomed the appointment, highlighting Ms Daly's strong local connections and community involvement as key assets for the region's long-term stability. Ms Daly has been acting in the position since the retirement of Max Eastcott in July last year. Liverpool councillor Peter Ristevski, who promotes himself online as the 1% accountant, has been penalised by the Tax Practitioners Board for allegedly providing and advertising tax agent services while unregistered. According to the Sydney Morning Herald, the watchdog says Ristevski lodged returns through another business and was involved in sophisticated creditor defeating and Phoenix-like schemes to help clients avoid tax debts. Councillor Ristevski denies the allegations, calling the board a kangaroo court, and says he'll appeal to the Administrative Appeals Tribunal. He's also facing mounting legal costs after losing a Supreme Court case against his own council. He was seeking to block the publication of a report into his conduct, but Justice Francois Kunk struck out the matter with costs after the councillor fell into non-compliance with pre-trial directions. According to the Daily Telegraph, the court ruled there's a clear public interest in dealing with reports concerning public officials openly. Snowy Monaro Regional Councillor Andrew Thaler has faced a tense 3-hour hearing before the New South Wales Industrial Relations Commission over bullying allegations made by the council's chief executive, Noreen Vu. The Sydney Morning Herald has reported on Ms Vu's application for a stop bullying order, saying Thaler's conduct has harmed her health and well-being. The Commission heard Thaler has repeatedly attacked Vu in social media videos and messages, using abusive and derogatory language and demanding access to her medical information. Under questioning, Thaler denied his remarks amounted to bullying, arguing they were expressions of opinion and free speech, though he later conceded he may have gone a bit far. Council representatives told the hearing the situation is beyond the pale, saying past disciplinary processes have failed to curb Thaler's behaviour. The Commissioner is expected to deliver findings in the coming weeks. The Sydney Morning Herald reports on how councils are cracking down on a spike in illegal tree poisoning and vandalism, often driven by residents chasing better harbour views. In Mossman, a homeowner says vandals drilled more than a dozen holes into the roots of a 50-year-old conifer and likely injected herbicide, and now the council is budgeting for a full-time tree compliance officer, dubbed a tree cop. Councils say fines can be outweighed by property value gains, and some are considering CCTV in high-risk areas, while arborists are warning the damage is getting so serious it may warrant jail time. The rollout of the New South Wales government's low to medium housing policy has drawn sharp criticism from some local councils, despite the state government standing firm on the initiative. According to a report from the Wentworth Courier, Wallara Mayor Sarah Dixon has labelled the policy a farce, claiming it has driven up property prices and lacks supporting infrastructure. Meanwhile, Mossman Council is pushing back with its own localised master plan to manage growth. Planning Minister Paul Scully confirmed there will be no exemptions, noting that over 660 development applications have already been lodged under the scheme. And Berkshire Council is launching a formal bid to secure New South Wales-based television broadcasting for its region. Residents currently receive regional programming from Victoria and Alice Springs. The Daily Telegraph reported the council will make formal representations to commercial networks to align Berk's free-to-air content with services broadcast into nearby Dubbo, ensuring remote communities gain access to state-specific emergency information and local news. Let's head to Queensland. Fraser Coast Regional Council has expressed deep concern following news that the Fraser Coast Hospice is moving towards voluntary administration. In a statement, Mayor George Seymour confirmed he's written to both state and federal health ministers, urging them to secure the future of the vital community facility. The hospice, which operates on council-provided land, has supported more than 800 local families since opening in 2021. An interim report from the Auditor-General has handed Scenic Rim Regional Council poor marks for its internal financial controls, according to the Beaudesert Times. The report, tabled at a recent council meeting, highlights a lack of compliance with procurement policies and unapproved purchasing card transactions, mirroring deficiencies identified in previous years. Council management has responded by introducing new technology and stricter oversight, warning staff that unauthorised expenditures will have to be paid back out of their own pocket. Meanwhile, the council has voted to divert funding, including money originally earmarked for drainage works, to cover a $1.08 million budget blowout on the Hinchcliffe Bridge replacement project at Coralbin. The total cost of the project has now climbed past $9.5 million, with Council's Infrastructure Department blaming poor subgrade road materials, recent wet weather and inadequate contingency planning for the escalation. And the City of Moreton Bay has partnered with the University of the Sunshine Coast to launch an extensive koala population study across local reserves. The project uses thermal imaging drones and ground-based detection dogs to analyse koala demographics and health. The council says the data will directly guide future conservation, infrastructure and habitat protection strategies. In Tasmania, a mayoral race is shaping up in the northwest of the state, with Waratah Wynyard councillors Dylan Roberts, Leanne Raw and Michael Johnston all announcing they'll contest the top job in October's election. Incumbent Mayor Mary Dunniam is still considering whether she'll run again, while long-serving councillor Gary Bramich has confirmed he'll step down after 28 years of service. More on that from The Advocate. Meanwhile, The Examiner reports today that Georgetown Mayor Greg Kaiser has announced he won't be contesting October's elections either. He's stepping aside to make room for new blood. The City of Hobart is transitioning its micro-mobility network following confirmation that operator Beam will end its service on June 30. The decision follows the council's move towards an e-bike only model. Hobart is currently progressing a public tender for a new provider, with shared e-bike services expected to hit the streets by mid-August. In South Australia, an independent investigation has found Mount Barker Mayor David Leach breached council behavioural standards during a dispute over a Survival Day event. According to reports from The Advertiser, the investigator ruled the mayor was not respectful in his interactions with former councillor Rebecca Hewitt. Mayor Leach issued an unreserved public apology at Monday night's council meeting following a formal vote by councillors. And WA opposition leader Basil Zemplis has rejected claims that current governance problems at the City of Perth stem from his time as Lord Mayor. Perth MP John Carey labelled the situation Basil's legacy, linking it to ongoing complaints against the council's chief executive, currently under investigation by the state's local government inspector. As the Greek Herald reported, Zemplis is instead calling on local government minister Hannah Beasley to act. A monitoring report on the council is due on the 19th of this month. Let's head across to New Zealand, where the local government minister Simon Watt says the government will change the law so only elected councillors can vote on council committees. RNZ reported that the move would stop councils appointing iwi representatives as full voting members, while still allowing non-elected advisors to contribute without voting rights or counting towards a quorum. The amendment to the Local Government Act is expected to be added to the bill currently before Parliament. Hastings Mayor Wendy Sholem has strongly criticised the proposal. The New Zealand Herald reported her concerns that stripping unelected iwi and independent financial experts of their committee voting rights would cause councils to lose vital specialised advice and undermine scrutiny of billions in community assets. Wellington Mayor Andrew Little has signalled strong support for council amalgamations ahead of a central government deadline, according to a report today from RNZ News. Speaking about the ultimatum for local authorities to submit reorganisation plans by August 9th, Mayor Little outlined 6 guiding principles for the city, emphasising that any ultimate decision must rest with the public through a referendum. He argues that combining the region's 4 metropolitan councils would provide the scale and coordination currently lacking in local governance. Across to the US, voters in Los Angeles are heading to the polls today for a high-stakes mayoral primary that is shaping up to be a tight 3-way race. Incumbent Mayor Karen Bass is fighting to hold her seat against 13 challengers, facing intense pressure over housing affordability and the city's ongoing homelessness crisis. According to the Daily Bruin, recent polling shows Progressive City Council member Nithya Raman running just a single percentage point behind Bass, while reality television personality Spencer Pratt sits closely in third with backing from the right. If no single candidate secures a clear majority this week, the top two vote-getters will advance to a definitive runoff in November. Young basketball fans in New York have the ultimate excuse to stay up late this week. Mayor Zoran Mamdani has signed a fun executive order officially repealing bedtimes for kids while the Knicks chase a championship in the NBA Finals. The order is a nod to the team's historic playoff run, according to ESPN. But parents have been warned the order doesn't excuse kids from school the next day. And in the UK, a political row is brewing in Worcestershire, where Deputy Council leader Adam Kent is threatening legal action against Conservative Party chairman Kevin Hollinrake. Councillor Kent was suspended by the Tories after forming a coalition with the Greens to oust a Minority Reform UK administration. While the party calls the suspension a neutral precaution, Kent claims public remarks made about him are defamatory, according to local gov. And Lincolnshire County Council says artificial intelligence is driving a sharp rise in freedom of information requests, up 18% to nearly 2,000 in the past financial year. BBC News reports the council is now missing its response target, with 83% answered within the 20-day deadline. Officials say some requests appear to be AI written, and they're exploring using AI themselves to help draft replies, with staff still checking accuracy. That's all I have for you today on the Local Government News Roundup. This has been edition number 590, recorded on Wednesday the 3rd of June 2026. Any comments or feedback or story ideas can be sent to chris@lgnewsroundup.com. The podcast is brought to you by the Victorian Local Governance Association, the national broadcaster on all things local government, with support from Symphony 3, simple, connected customer experiences, and Rath Engineering Development, smarter local government systems built from real on-the-ground experience. More details about this episode, including story links, can be found at lgnewsroundup.com. The Local Government News Roundup is recorded in the city of Greater Geelong, Victoria, on the land of the Wadawurrung people of the Kulin Nation. Until next time, thanks for listening and bye for now. Support for the Local Government News Roundup comes from Rath Engineering Development, smarter systems for local government, like Red GMS, helping councils manage gravel pits and projects, track quality, test results, blending options and haulage, and know the true cost per tonne from day one. Rath Engineering Development can give you a one-off report that uses your existing pit data to pinpoint the best gravel sources for your next resheeting program or disaster restoration works, saving your council time and money. For local government systems built from real on-the-ground experience, talk to the team at Rath Engineering Development. Head to rathed.com.au to find out more.